The war had been going on for 7 years. 7 long years of blood and fire between humans and the Valari Empire. Commander Taiho had seen too much death. He had fought on 12 different planets. He had lost friends, soldiers, and sometimes his hope. But he never stopped fighting. That was what humans did. They kept going. Taiho was 32 years old. He was tall, with broad shoulders and a face that showed his hard life. A scar ran across his left cheek from a battle 3 years ago. His eyes were dark brown, and they had seen too much pain. But somewhere deep inside them, there was still kindness. He just hid it well. His unit was stationed on Kessera, a border planet that was more rock than life. The air was thin and cold. The sky was always gray. It was not a place anyone wanted to be, but it was important. From here, they could watch Valari ship movements. One morning, everything changed. A Valari diplomatic ship crashed in the northern mountains. Taiho led his squad to investigate. They expected to find bodies. They expected to find intelligence. They did not expect to find her. She was sitting in the wreckage when they found her. All around her, Valari soldiers lay dead. The explosion had killed them, but somehow she had survived. She sat with her knees pulled to her chest, her silver-white hair covered in dust and ash. Her skin was pale, almost glowing, like moonlight made solid. When Taiho shined his light on her face, he saw her eyes. They were violet, deep, and strange, and beautiful. One of his soldiers shouted, "Can you hear me? Are you injured?" She did not respond. She did not even look at him. "Maybe she does not understand our language," another soldier said.
"How the Valari learn our language?"
"They all do," Taiho said. He stepped closer and knelt down in front of her. He waved his hand in front of her face. Her eyes followed the movement. She could see. But when he spoke, she showed no reaction at all. The medic ran his scanner over her. "Commander, I think she is deaf. The explosion must have damaged her hearing. There is trauma to both ears." Taiho looked at the girl. She was young. Maybe 19 or 20 in human years. The Valari aged differently, so it was hard to know for sure. She looked scared, but she was trying to hide it. He recognized that look. He had seen it in young soldiers before their first battle. They brought her back to base. Her identity chip said her name was Yuna. It said she was the daughter of a minor noble family. Nobody important. Nobody valuable. Command sent orders quickly. "Transfer her to the internment camp on Station 12. Taiho read the orders and felt something twist in his stomach. He had seen the internment camps. They were not cruel places, but they were not kind either. Prisoners sat in small rooms and waited for the war to end. Some waited for years. Some gave up waiting. He looked at Yuna through the window of the medical bay. She sat on the bed, her hands folded in her lap. She was looking at the wall, but he could tell she was thinking. There was intelligence in those violet eyes. There was awareness. Taiho made a decision. He was not sure why. Maybe he was tired of only destroying things. Maybe he wanted to save something for once. He walked into the office of Colonel Minseo, his commanding officer. She was a hard woman with gray hair and a reputation for fairness. "I want to keep the Valari girl here," Taiho said. Minseo raised an eyebrow. "Why? She could be useful." "For intelligence. She is deaf, Commander. And she is a minor noble's daughter. What intelligence could she possibly have?" Taiho did not have a good answer. So he told the truth. "I do not know yet, but I have a feeling about her. Something is different about this one." Minseo studied him for a long moment. She had known Taiho for 5 years. He was not a man who asked for things. He followed orders and did his job. This was unusual. "Fine," she said. "She is your responsibility. If anything goes wrong, it falls on you. I understand." That was how Yuna came to live in the quarters next to Taiho's room. At first, communication was difficult. Taiho wrote notes on paper and showed them to her. Simple things. "Are you hungry? And do you need water?" She would nod or shake her head. Her responses were quick and clear. She understood everything. He started teaching her the human hand alphabet. She learned it in 2 days. That surprised him. It should have taken weeks. You are smart, he wrote on a piece of paper. She looked at the words and then looked at him. For just a moment, something flickered in her eyes. Amusement, maybe. Then it was gone. The other soldiers did not like having her there. Some called her the enemy and the spy. A few were openly hostile. One night, Taiho found 3 soldiers cornering her in the hallway. They were not touching her, but they were close. Too close. What is happening here? Taiho asked. His voice was calm, but there was danger underneath. Just having a conversation, Commander, one soldier said. Oh wait, she cannot hear us anyway. Taiho stepped forward. He was not a small man, and when he wanted to, he could be very frightening. She is under my protection. That means she is off limits. Do you understand? The soldiers looked at each other. Then they walked away. Taiho turned to Yuna. She was pressed against the wall, but she was not shaking. She was not crying. She was watching everything with those violet eyes, taking it all in. He gestured for her to follow him. She did. Back in her quarters, he wrote a note. They will not bother you again. She read it and nodded. Then she did something unexpected. She took the pen from his hand and wrote in perfect, elegant script, Thank you, Commander Taiho. Her handwriting was better than his. Her spelling was perfect. This girl had been educated. Well educated? The daughter of a minor noble? No, there was more to her story. But Taiho did not push. Everyone had secrets. He had his own. As long as she was not a threat, he would let her keep hers. What Taiho did not know, what he could not possibly guess, was that Yuna heard everything. Every word the soldiers said, every whispered conversation in the hallway, every secret plan discussed in the command center. Her real name was not Yuna, it was Yuri, and she was not the daughter of a minor noble. She was the 3rd princess of the Valari Empire, daughter of Emperor Junho himself. Her deafness was a lie. It was the most perfect, most important lie in the galaxy. And she would keep it as long as necessary. But as she watched Taiho walk away, something strange happened. She felt something she had not expected. Gratitude. Real gratitude. For a human who had shown her kindness without reason. In her world, kindness was weakness. In her world, everyone had a reason for everything. Maybe humans were different. She would have to watch and learn. And so she did. 6 weeks passed on the cold planet of Kessera. Yori learned the routines of the human military base. She learned when they woke up, when they ate, when they trained, and when they slept. She learned their jokes and their fears. She heard their private conversations when they thought no one was listening, and she watched Taiho most of all. He was a strange man. In the morning, he trained with his soldiers, pushing them hard and pushing himself harder. In the afternoon, he reviewed reports and planned missions. But in the evening, he would come to her quarters with something new. Sometimes it was food. Human food was different from Valari food. It was heavier, richer, full of flavors she had never tasted. Taiho brought her something called rice cakes one night. They were sweet and chewy. She liked them very much, but she kept her face calm. Sometimes it was books. Real books made of paper. On Valari worlds, everything was digital. Paper books were considered primitive, but holding them in her hands, turning the pages, smelling the old ink. Yuri understood why humans still made them. There was something real about them. Something that screens could not copy. One night, Taiho brought a deck of cards. I want to teach you a game, he wrote on paper. It is called Go Stop. My grandmother taught me when I was young. Yuri tilted her head, pretending she did not understand. Taiho smiled and began to demonstrate. He showed her the cards, explained the rules through gestures and written notes. The game was complicated, but Yuri was good at complicated things. Within an hour, she was winning. Taiho laughed. It was a real laugh, warm and surprised. You learn fast, he wrote. She allowed herself a small smile. Just a small one. These moments confused her. In the Valari Empire, she was a princess. People served her, feared her, or wanted something from her. No one just spent time with her. No one played games with her for fun. Tahoe asked for nothing. He protected her, taught her things, and expected nothing in return. Her people would call this stupid. Weakness. But Yuri was starting to think they were wrong. She observed other humans too. There was a female soldier named Jiwoo who always sang while cleaning her weapons. There was an old doctor named Dong-hae who told terrible jokes, but gave the best medicine. There was a young technician named Bomi who was afraid of spiders, brave in battle. They were all so loud, so emotional. They laughed too hard and cried too easily. They hugged each other after missions and punched each other during training. They were messy and chaotic and completely without the control that Valari society demanded. And yet, when a soldier died on a mission, the whole base mourned. They held a ceremony. They spoke about the fallen soldier's life. They cried together. On a Valari ship, death was recorded in a file and forgotten. Efficiency was everything. Emotion was waste. Yuri began to understand something. Humans were not weak because they showed emotion. They were strong because of it. Their feelings connected them to each other, made them fight harder for each other, made them willing to die for each other. It was a terrifying thought, and a beautiful one. One night, everything changed. Yuri was in her quarters pretending to read, but really, she was listening. She had learned to hear through walls, through doors, through the thin metal of the station. Valari hearing was better than human hearing, and Yuri's hearing was exceptional even among her people. She heard voices from the command center. Colonel Minseo was speaking with someone on a secure channel. Yuri listened carefully. Intelligence is confirmed, a voice said. It was deep and serious. A general, maybe. Crown Prince Doan is planning something big. We do not know what yet. Yuri's heart stopped. Doan, her eldest brother? The man who had tried to kill her, what do we know? Colonel Minseo asked. Very little. Just whispers. Something about a weapon. Something that could end the war in one strike. The channel went silent. Yuri sat very still. Her mind was racing. Doan was ambitious and cruel. He had never wanted to share the throne with anyone. When their father chose to send Yuri on a diplomatic mission, Doan saw an opportunity. He arranged for her ship to be destroyed. Everyone was supposed to die, including her. But Yuri was clever. She survived the explosion and let everyone believe she was just a minor noble's deaf daughter. A nobody. Safe now. Doan was planning something new. A weapon that could end the war. Yuri felt sick. She knew her brother. He did not care about victory. He cared about power. If he was building a weapon, it would not just end the war. It would destroy everything in his way. She needed to know more. Over the next few days, Yuri listened to every conversation she could find. She followed soldiers without them knowing. She sat near the command center and pretended to read while her ears caught every word. Finally, she heard what she needed. It was late at night. Two intelligence officers were talking in low voices. They thought they were alone. The weapon is biological, one said. A virus. It only affects humans. How many could it kill, if deployed correctly? Billions. Every human colony in the outer systems would be gone in weeks. Yuri felt her blood turn cold. When the other officer asked, soon, they are moving the weapon through the Veil Nebula. No human ship has ever navigated that route. By the time anyone realizes what happened, it will be too late. The officers walked away. Yuri sat in the dark, her hands shaking. Billions. Her brother was going to kill billions of people. Men, women, children, entire worlds. She thought of Taiho teaching her card games. She thought of Ji Woo singing. She thought of old Dong-hae and his terrible jokes. She thought of all the humans she had watched and studied and come to understand. They would all die. Every single one, unless she did something. But what could she do? If she revealed what she knew, she would have to reveal who she was. The humans would not trust her. They would lock her up, question her, maybe even kill her. She was an enemy princess, a spy. Everything she had heard was stolen information. And and yet she remembered something. Taiho had written in one of his notes, "Good people do hard things because they are right, not because they are easy." Yuri had never thought of herself as a good person. She was a princess. She was a survivor. She did what she needed to do to stay alive, but staying alive was not enough anymore. She looked out her small window at the gray sky of Kasara. Somewhere out there, human children were sleeping. They did not know that death was coming for them. They did not know that a Valari prince was planning their extinction. Yuri made her choice. She would tell Taiho everything. She would save the humans, even if it meant destroying herself. Tomorrow, she would break her silence. Tonight, she allowed herself to cry. Just a little. Just this once, because tomorrow, Yuna the deaf refugee would die, and Princess Yuri would face the consequences of 7 years of lies. She was afraid. But for the first time in her life, she was also certain this was the right thing to do. Taiho was alone in the command center. It was past midnight. The screens in front of him showed patrol routes and ship movements. His eyes were tired, but his mind would not let him sleep. Something was wrong. He could feel it in his bones, the same way he felt danger before a battle. He heard the door open behind him. He turned, expecting a soldier with a late report. Instead, he saw Yuna. She stood in the doorway, her silver white hair falling around her shoulders. Her violet eyes were fixed on him. There was something different about her tonight. Something had changed. Taiho stood up. He reached for a piece of paper to write a note, but before he could, she spoke. "Commander Taiho." He froze. Her voice was soft, like silk moving through air. It was perfect, clear. There was no struggle, no hesitation. This was not a deaf woman learning to speak. This was someone who had been speaking her whole life. "You can speak?" His voice came out rough, shocked. "I can do more than speak." She stepped into the room, and something shifted in her posture. The timid refugee was gone. In her place stood someone royal, someone powerful, someone who was used to being obeyed. "My name is not Yuna. I am Yuri, third princess of the Valari Empire, daughter of Emperor Junho, the Undying." Taiho felt like the floor had disappeared beneath his feet. He reached for his weapon out of instinct, then stopped. She was not attacking. She was just standing there waiting. "Princess," he said slowly. "You are a princess, and you have been pretending to be deaf for 6 weeks. Yes, because I was supposed to die." Yuri's voice was calm, but there was pain underneath. "My brother, Crown Prince Doan, arranged the destruction of my ship. He wanted me dead, so he would have no rivals for the throne. I survived. I let everyone believe I was nobody. A minor noble's daughter, deaf and harmless." Taiho's mind was spinning. He had protected her, fed her, taught her games. And the whole time, she was enemy royalty. A spy. "You heard everything," he said. "Every conversation, every plan, every secret." "Yes." "Then why tell me now? Why reveal yourself?" Yuri's eyes did not waver. "Because my brother is going to kill your people. All of them. Every human in the outer colonies. Billions of lives." The word hung in the air. Billions. "What are you talking about?" Yuri told him everything. The bioweapon. The virus that only affected humans. The plan to deploy it through the Veil Nebula where no human ship could follow. The timeline. Everything. When she finished, Taiho was silent for a long moment. His face was hard to read. "Why should I believe you?" he finally asked. "You have lied to me every day since I found you. Why would you tell the truth now?" "Because I have spent 6 weeks among your people." Yuri's voice cracked, just slightly. "I have watched you fight and laugh and cry and love. I have seen you mourn your dead and celebrate your victories. I have seen kindness given for no reason at all." She looked at him directly. "My people are cold. We control our emotions. We see kindness as weakness. But you are different. You are alive in a way my people have forgotten how to be." She took a breath. "I will not watch you be exterminated. Not by my brother. Not for power. Not for anything. Taiho studied her for a long time. He had spent years learning to read people. In war, understanding your enemy was the difference between life and death. He looked at Yurei really, looked at her, and searched for lies. He found none. You understand what this means? He said quietly. You are betraying your empire. Your family. Your whole world, I know. They will call you a traitor. Your own people will want you dead. They already want me dead. My brother saw to that. Sad smile crossed her face. I have no home to go back to, Commander. I have only what is right and what is wrong. And genocide is wrong. Even my father would agree with that. Taiho was quiet for another moment. Then, slowly, he extended his hand. Then let us stop this together. Yuri looked at his hand. In her culture, physical contact between strangers was rare and formal. But she had studied humans. She knew what this gesture meant. Trust, partnership, a promise. She took his hand. His grip was warm and strong. For just a second, she felt something she had not felt in years. Safety. We need to move fast, Taiho said, releasing her hand. I have to bring this to Colonel Menseo and High Command. They will be difficult to convince. I have details, Yuri said. Attack routes. Defense codes. The weapons delivery system. Everything your military needs to intercept the convoy. That will help, but they will still be suspicious. You are an enemy princess who has been spying on us for weeks. I know. Yuri lifted her chin. I am prepared to face whatever consequences come. Taiho shook his head. You saved us. I am not going to let them lock you up. But you have to trust me. Can you do that? Could she? Yuri had never trusted anyone in her life. Trust was dangerous. Trust was how you got killed. But Taiho had protected her when she was nothing. He had shown her kindness without reason. He had treated her like a person, not a tool. Yes, she said. I trust you. The next few hours were chaos. Taiho woke Colonel Menseo and explained everything. The colonel was shocked, then angry, then thoughtful. She asked Yuri 100 questions. Yuri answered every one. By morning, the information was being sent to High Command. By afternoon, admirals and generals were arguing in secure channels. Some believed her. Some thought it was a trap. Some wanted her executed immediately. Taiho stood by her side through all of it. When generals screamed at her, he did not flinch. When officers questioned her loyalty, he defended her. When someone suggested throwing her in prison, he refused. She came forward voluntarily, he said to a room full of military leaders. She gave us everything we need to stop a genocide. If we do not act, billions of humans will die. Is that what you want? To be right about trusting no one while our children choke on Valari poison? The room went silent. Admiral Yunji, the highest-ranking officer in the room, spoke. She was an old woman with white hair and eyes that had seen 3 wars. Commander Taiho, you are putting your entire career on this woman, yes, Admiral? Why? Taiho looked at Yuri. She looked back at him, her violet eyes calm and waiting. Because she is not our enemy, he said. She could have stayed silent. She could have let us die and gone home a hero. Instead, she chose to save us. That makes her more loyal to humanity than half the people in this room. Admiral Yunji studied him. Then she looked at Yuri. You understand, Princess, that if this is a trick, you will not survive it. I understand, Yuri said. It is not a trick. The Admiral nodded slowly. Then we have a war to stop. Prepare the strike fleet. Yuri felt relief wash through her. They believed her. They were going to act. She looked at Taiho. He gave her a small nod. They had done it. The first step was complete. Now came the hard part. 30 ships gathered at the edge of the Veil Nebula. It was the largest strike force humans had assembled in 3 years. Battleships, cruisers, and assault vessels, all armed and ready. Their crews were nervous. No human fleet had ever entered the Veil and returned. The Veil Nebula was a wall of purple and blue gas that stretched across 100 light-years. Inside it, sensors failed. Navigation systems went crazy. Ships got lost and never came out. The Volari knew secret paths through the veil, but they had never shared them. Until now, Yuri stood on the bridge of the flagship, the Indomitable. She was wearing a human military uniform now. It felt strange on her body, but also right somehow. Taiho stood beside her, his face serious. "Are you ready?" he asked. "Yes." Admiral Yunji's voice came through the ship's speakers. "All ships, this is Admiral Yunji. We are about to enter enemy territory to stop the worst attack in human history. Our guide is Princess Yuri of the Volari Empire. She has risked everything to save our people. Trust her coordinates. Follow her path. And when we find the enemy, show them what humans are made of." A cheer rose from the crew. Even now, facing possible death, humans found reasons to shout. Yuri began to call out coordinates. Her voice was calm and precise. "Turn to heading 317. Reduce speed to half. In 30 seconds, turn to heading 284. The ships moved through the purple clouds. Around them, the nebula swirled and shifted. It was beautiful and terrifying. Strange lights flickered in the distance. Yuri knew those lights. They were the remains of ships that had gotten lost. Hundreds of them over the centuries. But she knew the path. Her father had taught her when she was young. A princess must know how to escape, he had told her. The veil is our greatest secret and our greatest weapon. For 3 hours, she guided the fleet. Her voice never wavered. Turn left, turn right, slow down, speed up. The humans followed her perfectly. Finally, they emerged on the other side. The Volari convoy was right in front of them. There were 12 Volari ships escorting a single large transport. The transport was carrying the bioweapon. The Volari were not expecting an attack. Their shields were down. Their weapons were cold. For one long second, everyone was frozen. Then Admiral Yunji gave the order. All ships, open fire. The human fleet exploded into action. Weapons blazed across the darkness of space. The Volari scrambled to respond, but they were too slow. 3 of their escort ships were destroyed in the first minute. Iho, Admiral Yunji said. Take your team and board the transport. Destroy the weapon. Yes, Admiral. Taiho turned to Yuri. Stay here. You have done enough. No. Yuri grabbed his arm. I am coming with you. It is too dangerous. That weapon was made by my people. My brother ordered it built. I need to be there when it is destroyed. Taiho looked at her for a moment. Then he nodded. They ran to the shuttle bay with a team of 20 soldiers. The shuttle launched into the chaos of battle. Volari shots exploded around them, but the pilot was skilled. They reached the transport and crashed through its side. Inside, Volari guards were waiting. The fighting was brutal. Taiho led from the front, his rifle firing without stop. Yuri stayed close to him, armed with a weapon a soldier had given her. She had trained in combat as a princess. Now she used those skills to save humans instead of killing them. They pushed through corridor after corridor. Volari guards fell. Human soldiers fell too. But they kept moving forward. Finally, they reached the cargo hold. The bioweapon was stored in hundreds of metal canisters. Each one was marked with warning symbols. Each one contained enough death to kill millions. Yuri stared at the canisters. This was what her people had made. This was what her brother wanted to unleash on innocent worlds. How do we destroy them? Taiho asked. Fire will not work. The virus is resistant to heat. Yuri walked to a control panel on the wall. But there is a neutralization protocol. The scientists built it in case of accidents. I can activate it from here. She began entering commands. Volari symbols flashed across the screen. Behind her, she heard more fighting. More Volari guards were coming. Yuri, hurry, Taiho said. I am trying. Her fingers moved faster. The system was asking for authorization codes. She entered her princess codes. Praying they had not been deactivated when her brother declared her dead, the system accepted them. Neutralization initiated, a computer voice said. Virus will be neutralized in 60 seconds. The canisters began to glow as a chemical reaction started inside them. The virus was being destroyed. Time to leave, Taiho said. They ran. Behind them, the cargo hold filled with light. The virus, the weapon that was meant to kill billions, turned into harmless particles. They made it back to the shuttle, just as the transport's engines exploded. The pilot flew them out into space. Through the window, Yuri watched the transport break apart. It was over. The bioweapon was destroyed. The Valari convoy was defeated. The remaining ships were captured or destroyed. Admiral Yunji's voice came through the radio. All ships, the mission is complete. The threat is neutralized. We are going home. Cheers erupted across the fleet. Taiho slumped against the wall of the shuttle. He was breathing hard. Blood ran from a cut on his forehead, but he was smiling. We did it, he said. Yuri sat down beside him. Her whole body was shaking. She had just destroyed her brother's greatest weapon. She had just saved the species she was supposed to be at war with, as she said quietly. We did. Taiho looked at her. Thank you, Yuri. You saved us. All of us. She did not know what to say. So she just nodded, for the first time in her life. She felt like she had done something truly good. The news of the bioweapon spread across the galaxy like fire. The Valari Empire had tried to commit genocide against humanity. The proof was undeniable. Captured data from the transport showed everything. The orders from Crown Prince Dowan. The scientists who built the weapon. The targets that were chosen. The galaxy was shocked. Even the Valari people were horrified. Many had believed the war was just. Many had believed humans were the aggressors. Now they learned the truth about their own leaders. Civil war erupted in the Valari Empire. Reformist factions that had long opposed the war rose up against Dowan. There was fighting on a dozen Valari worlds. Dowan tried to hold power, but his support crumbled. The military turned against him. His own guards abandoned him. 3 weeks after the bioweapon was destroyed, Crown Prince Dowan was arrested. His crimes were announced to the entire empire. He was sentenced to exile on a prison moon, where he would spend the rest of his life alone. Emperor Gunho, old and tired, announced his abdication. He had ruled for 200 years. He had seen too much. In his final address to his people, he spoke of shame and regret. We lost our way, he said. We forgot that power without mercy is just another word for evil. I pray my children will do better than I did. His second daughter, Soyen, became the new empress. She was known for her wisdom and her desire for peace. Her first act was to contact human leadership and ask for negotiations. The war was ending. Yuri watched all of this from the human base on Kasara. She was given a room, food, and freedom to move around. The humans treated her with respect. Some even thanked her, but she felt empty. She had betrayed her people. She had helped destroy her brother. She had revealed secrets that changed the course of history, and now she did not know who she was anymore. One day, a communication request came from the Valari homeworld. It was from Empress Soyen herself. Yuri accepted the call with shaking hands. Soyen appeared on the screen. She looked older than Yuri remembered. The weight of empire was already on her shoulders. Little sister, Soyen said. You are alive. I am alive. I heard what you did. You stopped Dowan's weapon. You saved billions of human lives. Yes. Soyen was quiet for a moment. Come home, Yuri. I need advisors I can trust. I need family by my side. Help me rebuild our empire into something better. It was everything Yuri had once wanted. Power, purpose, a place in her family again. But she looked around the small room she had been living in. She thought of Taiho and his card games. She thought of the humans who had accepted her despite everything. I cannot, she said, cannot, or will not. Both. Yuri took a breath. I am no longer Valari's sister. Not really. I made my choice when I saved the humans. I must live with that choice. Soyen studied her through the screen. Then, slowly, she nodded. I understand. You were always the brave one, Yuri. The one who did what was right instead of what was expected. Her voice softened. Know that you always have a home here. If you ever change your mind, thank you, sister. The call ended. Yuri sat alone in her room for a long time. She had just given up everything she had ever known. Her family, her world, her identity, and yet she felt lighter than she had in years. A knock came at her door. She opened it to find Taiho standing there. He was wearing civilian clothes instead of his uniform. His bag was packed and hanging from his shoulder. "What is happening?" Yuri asked. "The war is ending. My term of service is complete. I am going home." He paused. "I came to say goodbye."
Bye.
The word hurt more than Yuri expected. "Where is home?" she asked. "A farming colony called Green Hill. It is small and quiet. My grandmother still lives there. She is 94 years old and still makes the best rice cakes in the sector." He smiled a little. "She would probably adopt you within a week if she met you." Yuri blinked. Are you inviting me?" "I am offering." Taiho's smile faded into something more serious. "You saved my people, Yuri. You gave up everything to do what was right. You deserve a place where you can rest, where you can be happy." He shrugged. "I do not know if Green Hill is that place, but I can show you." "If you want." Yuri thought about it. She had no home, no family that wanted her, no purpose anymore. But here was a human offering her something she had never had. A chance to start over. A chance to find out who she was without the weight of empire and expectations. "Your grandmother," Yuri said slowly. "Will she be angry that you brought home a Valari princess?" Taiho laughed. "She will be angry that I did not bring her sooner. She always complained that I never introduced her to interesting people." Yuri felt something warm spread through her chest. It took her a moment to recognize it. "Hope, then take me there, Commander. I'm not a commander anymore." "Just Taiho, then take me there." "Taiho," he offered his arm, the same way he had in the command center after she revealed her secret. She took it without hesitation. They walked out of the base together. A shuttle was waiting to take them to the transport hub. From there, it would travel to a small green planet where an old woman made rice cakes and the war was just a distant memory. Yuri did not know what the future held. She did not know if she would find happiness on a human farming colony. She did not know if she could ever truly belong anywhere. But for the first time in her life, she was excited to find out. The shuttle lifted off. Through the window, Yuri watched the gray planet of Kazara grow smaller. She was leaving behind the place where she had died as a princess and been reborn as something new, something better. Beside her, Taiho was already falling asleep. He looked peaceful. He looked like a man who had done his duty and was finally going home. Yuri smiled and watched the stars. Humanity was strange, loud, emotional, and impossible to understand. But they had taught her something her own people never could. It was never too late to start again. And sometimes, the bravest thing you could do was not fight. It was to trust.